Private Security and Investigative Services Act can be a little bit daunting to pick up and to fully comprehend. So we're going to go through a little bit of a Q&A session. We've had some questions sent to us, and I'm going to address some of these questions with you here today. The first of the questions: how many questions are there for the Ontario Security Guards licensing examination? And the answer to that is that there are 60 questions in total on the ministry's licensing exam. A security guard is expected to achieve a cutoff score of just under 70%, but the fact is that if you are prepared and have done our practice quiz and examination at the end of the course, you should be, we hope, able to far surpass minimum standards. But there are 60 questions on the ministry's examination. People fear that they may not have enough time to complete the exam, but you should be able to do the examination and have enough time left over to review the answers that you've given. How soon do I have to take the license exam after completing the course? So the fact is that once you complete the program, you'll receive a certificate of completion, and as well, your information will be uploaded to Serco, which results in Serco generating a TCN, a training completion number. That TCN, or training completion number, is in essence a file number that will allow you to schedule the ministry examination for security guards. And at the present time, there is no expiration period for that TCN. So there is no minimum or maximum period of time within which to write the examination. We do strongly recommend that that you write the exam as soon as possible, as soon as you're able to schedule it. The reason being that it is certainly a manageable hurdle. It will demonstrate to the ministry that you've absorbed the material we've covered during the program that we're going through at the moment, and once you've completed the examination and have a passing mark, you're free to apply for your license at any time. So there is no time restriction. You can write the exam anytime that you feel ready, but we do strongly recommend that you don't delay too long. Most people become increasingly nervous the longer they wait. So do the examination as soon as you're ready. What is the passing score on the actual license exam? The passing score is in the mid-60s. We certainly hope that you have sufficiently absorbed the materials that we're covering during this program to exceed the ministry's minimum requirements, but the fact is that at present I believe the cutoff is in the mid-60s, so it is manageable for most people. However, we certainly know that most students try to do the best that they possibly can in the ministry's examination. Where can I work after getting my security guard license? The security industry is huge. There are so many different avenues and opportunities for employment, some of which have been and will be discussed during the course of this program. A security guard, a licensed security guard, can work for any private security organization in the province of Ontario. A guard can work for a registered employer, and as you might know, a registered employer is an organization other than a security guard company, which has reason to employ security guards on staff. So many department stores are registered employers, and retail chains and corporations of every size and description are registered employers. Security guards can work in licensed entertainment establishments such as bars and nightclubs. If you're interested in becoming a bouncer, security guards can pursue further training and expand their role and function as well. The industry is huge and growing every day, and it is likely that we've covered employment options and opportunities in other areas and other videos that we've produced. But if you simply take a look on a website like or a similar site today, you'll find all the varied opportunities available for security guards in your local area and across the province. Another question, can I start my own private security agency after getting a license? Interesting question, and I think rather than just focusing on the license, you should be focusing on gaining as much experience and as much varied experience as you possibly can. But the fact is that an application for an agency license is managed through the Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services. An applicant seeking to open an agency has to demonstrate a general capacity, a financial responsibility, has to have general liability insurance coverage. So it's an ambitious question, and I'm glad that people are thinking ahead. But this is something that you'll resolve as you start to gain experience, and we certainly recommend a minimum of 3 years of experience, and depending on what you've encompassed in that period of time, you may want to gain a broader range of experience and skill sets as well. Do I have to buy my own notebook to write daily notes? So the truth is that most agencies will supply you with a notebook and other materials that you need in order to do your job. And this is a question to be addressed to your employer. So it simply depends on company policy, but I'm hard pressed to think of an organization that will not supply you with basic requirements such as a security guard's notebook. A related question, this is actually a very good question. What do I do with the notebooks that I've finished? You may know or will know as you go through the section that the Private Security and Investigative Services Act has a number of regulations, one of which is the record-keeping regulation. And the record-keeping regulation, which we discuss on another video, requires that your agency, the company for which you work, is obligated to retain all of the notes and reports and notebooks that you would have produced during the course of working as a security guard for that organization. So the simple answer is that you must submit your notebook, your completed notebook, to your agency or site supervisor. The company that you work for will have the facilities to store those notes. The notebooks are the property of the company for which you work. Here is another examination-related question. Can I do the security guard licensing exam online? At the time of this recording, which is 2022, the ministry certainly has an online facility for the examination process. I'm told by people that it's not necessarily easy to navigate the requirements online because of security provisions naturally required by CERCL for an online examination, but you can do the examination, the security guards examination online if you so choose. We don't necessarily recommend it one way or the other, but it is available online should you wish to take it in that manner. Where and how do I book my security guard license examination? We're getting a lot of questions concerning the examination, which is fine. It's a little bit early because you're not yet finished the program, but certainly I'm happy to answer that question. The licensing, the completion of the program will result in CERCL, that's the organization that's contracted by the Ministry of Community Safety to administer the security guards examination process. CERCL will generate something called a TCN, a training completion number. That TCN, or training completion number, will allow you to go onto CERCL's website in order to schedule the examination. And when you do access Serco's website and enter your training completion number, you'll be given a number of dates and locations for the examination. The examination generally takes place, if you're doing it in person, in one of Ontario's driver testing centers. They double as centers at which security guards can complete their license examination. Depending on where you live in the province, you'll be given a number of locations and a number of dates. You'll have the option of selecting the date and location most suitable to you. If a date that you'd like is not immediately available, you may have to drive a little bit further to find that particular date accessible. Most people are able to manage the license scheduling fairly easily. So what happens is that you'll go on Serco's website, you'll enter your training completion number. There will be a window or an option to book an exam, a test, and when you follow the links on the website, you'll be given various options for dates and locations. By the way, just be aware that at the time that you book the examination, Serco will require the examination fee, which at the time of this recording is $76 and some change. I believe it's $76.15. That payment has to be made online by credit card, Visa, MasterCard, anything else that you can use as an online credit card. Be aware also that should you miss an examination date for any reason or every reason, the examination fee is non-refundable. So do be aware of that and plan your schedule accordingly. Again, a licensing questions. How do I apply for my license once I finish the course? Once you have completed the Serco examination and have achieved the passing mark, you'll be notified of your grade within a day or two. You'll be advised that you've passed the examination, assuming that you have, and you will then use the training completion number that was generated and that you received from Serco in order to access the ministry's website through Service Ontario in order to then complete the license application process online. We will, at the conclusion of your course, provide you detailed instructions on exactly how to do that. So while I know that some people are a little bit anxious about what happens at the end, your job right now is to focus on your studies and do the best that you can here and on the ministry's exam. And once that's completed, the licensing process, the license application process, is fairly straightforward and simple, and we are certainly here to help you navigate and go through that entire process. An employment question: do I need a security guard's license to work in a bar? And the answer is that if you are working in the capacity of a bouncer, a door person, or in a security capacity in a bar, you absolutely need a security guard's license. You certainly do not need a license for any other type of employment in a bar, such as a server or bartender or whatever else. But if your function is that of providing security or assisting in security matters within a bar environment, you most certainly do require a license. How much does it cost to apply for my license? It's an interesting question and one that sometimes confuses people because I mean, the reality is that you do have to pay a fee. The answer is $80. The cost for renewing a license and for applying for an initial license is $80, and in essence, it's $80 every 2 years. And you know, I see all sorts of odd looks from people when we talk about issues like that in a live class, because they feel that it's an unnecessary or unfair burden imposed upon them. And the truth is that the Ontario government has an obligation to ensure that it does not profit from issues like providing licensing services or similar types of services. The government and government ministries are mandated to only cover costs associated with administering a license, a particular act, that. And therefore, the presumption is that the cost for the ministry processing and maintaining your license is $80. That's the cost that's transferred to you. So $80 every 2 years. If you wanted to break it down annually, then just calculate $40. Not a huge burden once you start working, but I certainly understand that at the beginning, as you're calculating costs, it can be a little bit daunting to think of having to lay out money before actually seeing an income in return. But the cost in the broader scheme of things is certainly minimal and for most people manageable. After I get my license, when does it expire? So that's a good question, and I believe we've gone through some of that information in the materials that you've just covered online. A license is issued for a period of 2 years and expires on your birthday. So for every license, you can anticipate renewing the license 1 month before it expires on your birthday, and that renewed license, once you receive it, will then be good for a further 2-year period of time. The exception, however, is with your first license. Depending on when your birthday is, your first license will be issued for a period probably less than 2 years, unless it happens that your birthday is right around the time that you complete your ministry examination. So imagine that your birthday is in January, and you apply for your license in June. You'll have a license from June to January, and then again until the following January. So you'll have your license for a period of about 1.5 years rather than 2 years. Once you've renewed that license, then the renewal is good for 2 years. So the simple answer is a license has to be renewed every 2 years, and the exception to that is your first license, which can be for anywhere from 13 to 24 months. Can I work as a security guard for more than one company? So the answer is that today your license is referred to as a portable license. A portable license means that the license has been issued to you, and with it you can work for any related organization in the province. The issue of working for more than one company is whether or not there is a restriction imposed upon you by either of the organizations preventing you from working for any competing or other organization. If your employers, in plural, have no objection to you working in more than one position or for more than one company, then you should be able to do so. And if you have any doubt, then always approach your employer, let them know the circumstances and reason for why you wish to work for other companies as well. It could be for added hours, or it could be because you want to round off your schedule, or you may be interested in weekend work and occasional part-time work, and that might require you to work with more than one organization. Or it could be a career decision. You may want to engage in special events security with one organization and routine security services with another organization, so long as the employers have no objection and you're not breaching a policy. And of course, you recognize the importance of maintaining confidentiality with each of those organizations. There should be no problem with anyone working for multiple organizations. Is there further training available for security guards? So the answer is absolutely. The security industry is huge, and training opportunities abound. When you are employed with an organization, there may well be training options and opportunities available internally, and every organization wants to ensure that their guards are as well equipped and well prepared as possible, and often that entails further or advanced training once you're on the job. We here at Canadian School of Private Investigation and Security offer diploma level programs in the security industry. We also go into other areas within the broader sector of law enforcement as well, and there are no limits to opportunities for further training in an academic level. There are a lot of excellent academic facilities on on a professional level, and really the sky's the limit in terms of what you do and how you do it, and how you prepare yourself for future challenges and opportunities. Education is or should be a lifelong process. We believe in that, we encourage that, and we certainly recommend that you do your best to always stay ahead and on top of your industry. Who pays for my security uniform? So the answer is that it depends on which company you work for and what their internal policies are. Some organizations provide you with a uniform. Some organizations provide you with a uniform, but then deduct the cost of the uniform from your first or first several paychecks. This is something you can certainly address with the employer at the time that you're interviewed for a position. So the answer to that is it completely depends on the organization. Of course, it depends on the type of uniform that you are using, and whether it's winter or summer, and the financial implications of the uniform. But definitely do discuss that with your employer at the time of your initial interview. How do I get a baton? How do I get baton and handcuffing or use of force training? The course that you're doing at the moment is an online course, and it's designed for you to be able to do at your own pace and your own convenience. When we get into use of force, baton handcuffing, these are programs that require physical presence, and you can contact us once you have obtained your security guard's license for training options and dates, and there may be other locations in the province where you can source out this type of training. Your employer, if they require you to use a baton or handcuffs, should also be in a position to provide you with that training or direct you to obtain that training. But that is something that has to be done in person and cannot be done electronically or online. Do I need my own copy of the criminal code? That's an ambitious question. The answer is that it's always nice to be able to look things up as information, materials, or ideas, thoughts come to mind. The fact is that a security guard does not absolutely require their own copy of the criminal code, depending on what academic pursuits you might have. It may be nice to obtain one, but do be aware that the Canadian Criminal Code is available in its entirety online. It's a vast volume, and therefore you'll be able to access different statutes or sections of the code at any one time, but the code is available for you online, and therefore you do not need to make that purchase unless you want to. Do I need to memorize any part of the Act? It's an interesting question. The Act is very important, and we consider it to be a very significant part of what security guards should be aware of as professional security guards, as licensed professionals. But the fact is that memorizing any part of the Act is really not required. What we anticipate is that by having reviewed the Act with us and on your own, by having reviewed some of the regulations under the Act, you'll know that information is contained in the Act, where the information is contained, what information is contained, and should you require it at any time in the future, our hope is that you'll know where to look for it and how to look for it. So the basic answer is that an actual memorization of the Act is not important. And for all practical purposes, you'll always be able to access a physical copy of the Act or an electronic copy of the Act in the event that you need to refer to it for any particular issue or question. So don't worry about the necessity of memorizing. Another question, can I use my Ontario Security Guard's license to work in another province? So the answer is absolutely not. Licensing in Canada is a provincial responsibility and a provincial jurisdiction. Every province imposes its own licensing requirements. If you are working in another province, then you're going to have to verify the requirements for licensing in that province. The good thing is that you're not restricted in holding only one provincial license, certainly not by the Private Security and Investigative Services Act of Ontario. And if you work for an organization that has offices in different provinces, then you'll certainly be encouraged to become licensed in each of the provinces being served, particularly if your work entails traveling from one province to another. All right, I appreciate your time. I think that we'll close off our questions at this point. If you have any particular questions as you go through this section or really any other section of the course, feel free to reach out to us by telephone, by email. My staff, I will be happy to try to answer any questions or help with any issues that any one of you might have. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your questions.